I'm so excited to share this amazing, enlightening episode with Dr. Tara. And I just want to give a heads up, this is for adult ears. We talk about sexual wellness and health. And although it is such an enlightening conversation and it is really wonderful information to hear about, I want to put a disclaimer on that I think you should be an adult of adult age if you're listening to this. So just wanted to give that little heads up, and I'm very excited to have Dr. Tara joining me on Get Real. So let's welcome her to the podcast. Okay, so this is exciting. I have Dr. Tara with me, and you are one of the leading experts in sex, a sexpert.
Yeah,
Right?
a sexpert. Yeah.
I mean, that's a big deal. You've kind of made this your mission in life for people to be educated about their sexual well-being, right?
hmm
And it's not, I don't feel like, I feel like pleasure is a huge part of it with you, but it's also, it feels like it's so much more. I feel like you have a big mission with this. Can you tell us what your mission is?
Yeah, I mean, my mission can be streamlined to just like one statement, right? Less shame, more pleasure. And pleasure in life doesn't necessarily just come from sexual well-being. It comes from every aspect of life. But my thesis is that when your sex life is great, there is a positive spillover effect in every aspect of life. I've seen that firsthand in my own relationship, starting from getting a divorce from my first husband to where I am now, as well as all my clients that have embarked on a sexual awakening journey, if you will, that it positively affects other parts of their life. Their skin looks better, their friendships are better, their family relationships are better, they make more money. Like it's just better for your life overall to have a great sex life. It's not something that's separate from your overall wellness.
So, okay, I love this. So, what would you describe a great sex life? How would you describe that? What does that look like? Can it be different? Or what is like a standard? If you're going to say this is a great sex life, what is it?
Yeah. So I would say, well, I would say as a social scientist, right? Like there is a definition of sexual satisfaction. And sexual satisfaction is when you subjectively feel whole and happy and fulfilled within your sex life and within your relationship. That it in itself is the definition. Now, when people ask me like, well, how many times in a week should I have sex with my partner, right? That's the most asked question that I
That's your
get
most asked question is
from couples. Yeah.
how many times is the right amount of times for a great sex life? That is your most asked question. I love it. Okay, what's your answer?
Well, research found that couples who have sex at least once a week tend to report to be the happiest couples, to have the highest level of sexual satisfaction. So it's not me imposing the shoulds, because like I'm never a fan of you should do this, right? Because nothing works like that anymore nowadays in modern society. It's like it just depends. Like, but it's not satisfying, isn't it? Like when people ask, like, what's a good sex life? And I say, it depends. They're like, give me a number, right? Like, and I get it. You want to feel comforted by like, am I doing okay? And I think when I shared that research result like that, most couples in this big study found that they were sexually satisfied and happy in their relationship when they maintain about once a week having sex with their spouse or their partner. A lot of people tend to have this like sense of relief because I think they think that other people are having sex like 4 or 5 times a week.
Right. Well, I agree with you. I can tell it like you can feel a difference when you're not connected on that level. It's just it because I feel like that is kind of the distinction between like a great friend and, your lover, your person
Your
that you are
lover.
intimate with. Like it really does if you're not having that connection, it's easy to drift apart, I
Yeah.
suspect.
Yeah. But then again, like sexual frequency also it comes from being in a partnership. But a lot of times people ask me questions about self-pleasure all the time because they're single and maybe they're dating, but they're not in a spot where they're having sex with people. They're like, well, how do I have a great sex life when I'm single? And I said, self-pleasure, like masturbation. It's a whole thing. And, it's scientifically proven to improve your life. It improves your immune system. It improves your mood because you still have, dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin when you orgasm on your own. And it improves your self-esteem because you know how to take care of yourself. You know you're capable of feeling pleasure on your own. So, in a way, like masturbation is like if you meditate, journal, take vitamins, why not masturbate?
Well, and it kind of makes sense too, though. And I feel like we've had such a stigma for so long about it. There's a lot of shame with it. And really, I think you mentioned this in a post or an article that you wrote. It kind of what you just said. You're taking care of your whole body. It's an organ, it's a part of you that needs to be taken care of as well. Or else I feel like you can have health issues if it's not. If like, is that true? Can you have health issues if
Yeah.
you're not activating your sexual organs enough?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there isn't like a direct cause effect, but it impacts your overall well-being. And a lot of times the impact actually comes from the idea of sexual frustrations. People talk about like being sexually frustrated, and
Hmm.
that raises your cortisol, which then like, reduces the ability of your immune system. It affects your mental health, right? When you have high cortisol, you're in stress mode. And sexual frustration is correlated with high cortisol. So, yeah, you don't want to be sexually frustrated all the time. However, that's sort of the epidemic of the world currently, if you look at it. I mean, single people can't find partners, and they're lonely and they find dating really difficult and they're exhausted and they just don't have that energy to take care of themselves sexually.
Hmm.
And then couples are, reported being in sexless marriages. I mean, we have high statistics showing how many people, or like at least, 30% of people have experienced being in a sexless marriage or relationship. So it is like a world epidemic, if you will. It's a lot of people are experiencing not having a good sex life.
So how do you bring in the how am I find the right words for this? Because I feel like some people are very like promiscuous
Yeah.
and maybe that is totally that works for them. I am someone who I need to be in a committed relationship like
Mm-hmm.
or else I don't feel valuable. I don't feel like I have
Mm-hmm.
never been able to be someone who's just like let's have a hookup and then that's
Mm-hmm.
it. I mean, maybe, and I do believe some people can do that, but like, how do you put the value? How do you put the value of sex? Because to me, there's a spiritual side of it too. Do you feel
Yeah.
that? Or
Yeah. Oh, big time.
because it's like when you are connecting with someone, you are sharing your entire energy and life force
Mm-hmm.
with them. I mean, that's a sacred act, and I feel
Mm-hmm.
like it should be taken seriously. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, so there are different school of thoughts when it comes to having sex early on in dating or like having a hookup versus like having sex later on in your relationship. And there's people who subscribe to the idea of sexual compatibility model, which means like when they go on a date, they want to immediately figure out if this person is sexually compatible with them. And that's why psychologically they choose to have sex early or even entertain a hookup because some people can enjoy sex as a recreational activity. And that is like a different part of the processing of the brain, like a different personality. And some people enjoy that, like you said. But then there are other people that can't enjoy it
Hmm.
because they're wired differently. And we typically call them demisexuals. Have you heard of that term?
No.
Yeah, so demisexuals are people that need emotional connection, a strong emotional connection in order to have sex with someone.
Yes.
So you're not going to be able to have sex with someone you met on the first date or even second or maybe even third. It needs to feel close. You need to feel safe with
And
the
valued.
person and valued. So in that sense, you're a demisexual and you're wired in that way. And there's a lot of people that are wired in that way as well. Now, as a professor of sexuality, there isn't like right or wrong as long as people are being conscious and mindful. If they are enjoying hookups, is it like a conscious hookup? Like, yeah, like we're both gonna get together, we're gonna get off, take care of each other, and then leave, right? Like being conscious about what you're doing. But then there's also people that are waiting forever and they're not opening up to anyone, claiming that, oh, they don't want to lose this sexual energy. However, being alone can also, you know, you lose your sexual energy. So I feel like there is an extreme on both sides. People that just hook up with everybody and not take care of their energy, and then people that are too closed off.
Hmm.
So I think it's all about becoming in tune with your body and your spirituality and see how you feel, and not being too closed off when you feel like you really need that strong emotional connection, but also communicating. Like if you're dating someone and you do feel that sexual draw, but you don't want to have sex with them yet, perhaps communicate what you need in order to feel even closer to them and valued by them. Maybe your love language is more quality time. Maybe your love language is gifts. Like a lot of people get bad reps for liking gifts, but I'm like, yeah, but it's a part of like top 5 love languages. Some people feel valued when they get gifts consistently, and I'm not saying, huge gifts, but like,
Just being
yeah,
thought of.
anyways. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so communicate what you need to feel valued, and enjoy exploring sex with the person.
So you think on either end of the spectrum, communication is key. Like, do you think
It's
it's
key.
even if someone is like prepared just to like have a random hookup, do you still think communication is key? Like to like express your boundaries and what you're going in, just so like I mean, no one, a lot of people don't do that this day. A lot of people just like hook up and then there's a whole a fallout afterwards of it can end in a disaster or like someone's brokenhearted or someone feels taken advantage of. So like do you feel like communication is the baseline that needs to happen in any situation?
1000%. I conducted a study based on 5,000 subjects. So 5,000 people took my survey and participated in the
Wow.
study. And I found that the most important predictor of a high level of sexual satisfaction in sort of any circumstance is communication, sexual communication. And that can be communicating your boundaries, communicating your desires, communicating what feels good, what doesn't feel good during the act, communicating what you will need during the act to feel even valued within the casual sex realm, and also communicating what you need to end it, like the resolution, right? Like if you communicate, like, listen, like, I'm feeling myself. I want us to get together. Like, let's go to my place or let's go to a hotel. Let's like do this, but I want us to like really take care of each other sexually. And then this would be it. This would be the night. And both people agree. That can be a fun and recreational experience for both people. But at the same time, like you said, not a lot of people are doing that and they get buyer's remorse.
Oh, I'm
Or they
sure.
feel
Yeah,
used. A lot of women typically feel
totally.
used.
I feel like
Yeah,
that
but
is a
that's because they
problem,
engage in it through the act of people pleasing behavior.
right?
Like if you are not doing things for yourself and like, oh, I need to get off too. If you're not like just a horny woman trying to get off and you're doing it to please the person, then yeah, you're gonna feel used immediately.
And I do feel like that is a problem with a lot of women is they want to be validated, they want to be chosen, they want
Yeah.
to be loved, and they confuse that with sex sometimes. And I think that is a big distinction. Like, because like you say, if you go into it consciously, if you have set your boundaries, if you feel empowered, that's a totally different story. But it is a problem when you're going into it to try to be loved, you know? And
Or
and
like I can change him.
right. And that never works. And then the woman, most of the time, ends up feeling, like you said, used, taken advantage of, buyer's remorse, bad, and it's a cycle. So how can we encourage women to get out of that cycle and to get into an empowered state of mind? Because I do feel like that is the problem with sex with women, especially like early sex, is a lot of women aren't doing it for the right reasons. Do you
That's a
feel that?
great question. Oh, yeah, 100%. I've seen that a lot. Although I've seen that a lot more as a pattern amongst millennials rather than Gen Zs. Gen
Okay.
Zs are a lot more conscious about what they want to do and a lot more open in terms of like what sexual activity they want to do, with who they want to do it, what relationship structure. Like, monogamy isn't necessarily always the only option for them. So I've seen a pattern or a trend within Gen Zs that are different. But yeah, like I'm a millennial, and I would say most of my clients that are female millennials have experienced people pleasing behaviors that go into them having a lot of casual sex or sex that they didn't actually want to have,
Mm-hmm.
but participated in anyway in order to get external validation. Now, how do you escape from that hell loop of
Yes,
hell?
this is a great, I'm so happy we're going to talk about this because I feel like women
Yeah.
need to hear this.
Yeah, so research found that women who have high level of sexual self-esteem do not engage in people-pleasing sex. Now, how do you have high level of sexual self-esteem? L- Sexual self-esteem comes from knowing that your body, your brain, your mind, your spirituality is worthy of pleasure and worthy of love. And in order to even build that from the to begin with, you have to have self-love. And I know that in modern society, it's such a buzzword to say self-love. But scientifically speaking, how do you build self-love is you can do it through various practices, but you need to do it consistently over a long period of time. And we have experimental studies that show very positive results. So I think people need to be patient while they do these activities. The first thing is meditation, and it can be sexual empowerment meditation. How is it different from regular meditation? It's similar, but it focuses on sexual thoughts, sexual feelings, and sensations in the body. Because maybe when you meditate to get courage at work or meditate to feel confident today, it might not involve those sexual elements. And that's why to build your sexual self-esteem, you need to try to do your sexual meditation. And you can do it, quietly while visualizing what a sexually fulfilled person look like for you as yourself. But you can also use guided meditation that I have for free on YouTube. If you like listening and just following instructions, you
Is
can
everything
listen to
under
my
Dr.
guided
Tara?
meditation.
Under
Yes,
Dr.
so if
Tara?
you go to my name and just search sexual meditation, Dr. Tara will come up. Um, these are just guided meditations that were created for you to think sexual thoughts, feel sexual feelings, and feel the sensations in your body. So that's the first practice that research found has helped a lot of women around the world. Actually, there is a big research institute at the University of British Columbia, and it's so interesting because when I interview this professor, she said that, like, in this one study, we enroll people who had cancer, women who had cancer who reported feeling like nothing, like feeling no sexual desire whatsoever because they're going through such a huge health issue. But after enrolling in this sexual mindfulness activity intervention, um, a lot of them have reported significant improvement in their sexual desire and arousal, which to me is like, wow, it's fascinating and it should be talked about more because it's free. Like you don't need to be taking a lot of these things or buy anything. Like you just need you. So the first thing is sexual meditation. The second thing is actually writing things down. So research in positive psychology mixed with human sexuality will indicate that writing positive sexual affirmations in your journal actually helps. Yeah, it feels weird and awkward the first few times, maybe even the first 2 weeks to write like, I am sexually empowered, right? Like I love my sexual energy. If you've never written that before, it might feel like a little bit almost cocky. Like I have great sexual energy. I am seductive, right? But at the same time, like we have research that shows that, positive affirmations work, especially when you're writing it down and saying it out loud. So the second method is journaling. The third method is start educating yourself within the realm of sexuality. The book that every woman should have on their shelf, and I rarely say should, but I think this is a should, is the book by Dr. Emily Nagoski called Come As You Are. And it will help you feel so much more confident about your sexuality because now you'll understand like how does my desire work? Why do I feel horny at days and not feel it on certain days? Why do I not have desire for my husband? Why do I want to engage in sex with this person when I'm just dating them like for the second time? Like there's so many questions that people have that are answered in this book. And the psychology behind sex education is people feel very scared and uncertain when it comes to sex. They're winging it. We have millions of people around the world that are just winging it in their sex life. And what we see psychologically is there's a lot of uncertainty. When there's a lot of uncertainty, you can't operate in a conscious mind and
That is so
mindful.
true.
Yeah, you can't because you're just, oh, I don't know.
You're questioning yourself, you're
Yeah,
unstable with it. Yes.
yeah. And the best way to reduce uncertainty is actually through education. And it can be as simple as, popping on an ebook and listening through and learning more about your body, how your desire and arousal works, like why sometimes you get wet, sometimes you don't. Like it's just going to empower you because now you have information and you feel more certain about your sexuality. So, yeah, those are just simple practices that you can do and that will improve your sexual self-esteem.
So how did you get into this business? Because you have a lot of accolades. Let me kind of go through these. You're a tenured professor of relational and sexual communication, and quantitative research at California State University, Fullerton. Okay, you got your tenure at 33. You're an award-winning researcher, TV sexpert on Celebs Go Dating, a columnist on Women's Health magazine. You're like the Carrie Bradshaw. You're like the modern
Yeah.
day Carrie Bradshaw. You're a host of Love Bites podcast, and you're also a new co-host of Loveline, the iconic radio show. I mean, that's just some of the things you're doing. You really are like today's Carrie Bradshaw.
I am. I really
Amazing.
am.
You are. How did you step into this line of work and how did you become this? I was reading your columns for Women's Health and I was like, oh my gosh, I feel like this is Sex in the City, like so much.
Yeah.
I love
I
it.
know. I loved Sex in the City when I was young, like watching Sex in the City and feeling like really identifying with Samantha.
Oh, Samantha.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so you have always been very like free in your
Curious.
sexuality. Okay.
Yeah, I've always
Okay.
been sexually curious, but no, I grew up very religious.
Okay.
And I
And
also
you're
went,
from where are you from
I'm
originally?
from Thailand.
Okay. And
Yeah,
when
and
did
I
you
went to an all girls Catholic school.
in Thailand?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
My
When did you move to the United States?
15 years ago.
Okay. So you
Yeah.
grew up very Catholic, very religious, not
Well, I grew up Buddhist, a religious Buddhist, but going to an all girls Catholic school. Very confusing.
that is confusing. How did that happen?
My parents wanted me to go to this private school and it's an all girls Catholic school. But yeah, so like learning, all about like God and Jesus, but also like Buddha and like praying and meditating. It's just learning a lot about spirituality and being interested in like just how different people think because I grew up so differently.
So, what was that like to be Buddhist at home and Catholic at school and having these two different religions greatly influence you at such a young age? How did that affect your concept of spirituality? How do you view spirituality with such different uh, mindsets? Were you able to merge them?
Yeah.
Okay, tell me how you merge them.
Yeah, I mean, now I very much merge them, but it took me a long time to get here. I mean, when I was young, we would pray and meditate at home as Buddhists and go to temple as Buddhists. But then when I go to school, we pray, like we go, in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit. So I learned both practices and practiced both of them. Uh, but when I got older and also studying like religious wars, it did my faith in organized religion had deteriorated quite a bit
How?
due to all the violence that has happened because of people's beliefs.
Mm.
So I went through all of that and had a whole phase in my 20s of like, oh, I'm atheist.
But you
right?
know what? I always think those are good seasons to have because that means you're
Yeah.
actively questioning your faith. You're not just taking it for face value, you're actually going into a deep relationship and you're trying to understand why you believe what you believe, which I think personally, I think is healthy because then you know why you have a faith. Ultimately, when if you come back around to it, you know that it's real.
Yeah, it is very real now. Yeah, I definitely talk to God every day. I talk to the universe every day. I still have spiritual, like Buddhist practices that I do every day, like praying to ancestors and praying to different gods and goddesses. Um, but yeah, I would say polytheist like would be my situation. Like I enjoy various aspects of different religion. Like my friend invited me to like come to church because they have like singing and there's like a band. Like I'm like, oh, that's fun and it's a cool community thing. Another friend invited me to go pray to like a tree because they're pagan. And, and like give like rainbow scarves to trees. Like I've tried that. Like I think there is a much stronger spiritual force out there that's much bigger than all of us. And people can say God, people can say universe or any other terms, but I know that there's that outside of us, and I believe in that. What about you?
I kind of have been on just journeys in general. I have always been a questioner and a seeker, and I grew up I grew up Episcopalian. I always had a very great religious foundation. As I got older, I just got curious about other religions too, and just like kind of thinking that I just felt like there were a lot of ways to be spiritual, and
Hmm.
I feel like I've just come to terms with my own relationship and the fact that I have now a very personal relationship. I feel God in my heart and I don't necessarily need someone else to explain it to me. Like I definitely
Hmm.
love to go to church. I will love to be involved with anything spiritual. I love to be in communities of spirituality, but I just feel like I have my own relationship after like
Hmm.
years of just trying to find my own self-worth and trying to figure out what this life means and why we're here and what, like you said, why are there all these wars? Why is there all this suffering? Why are people born in terrible situations while other people born
Hmm.
into good situations? Why do we have
Hmm.
these sexual desires? Why are some people unable to why do some people do bad things with
Hmm.
with our human instincts and other people's can figure out how to channel them in positive and like it's just like it's so confusing to be a human.
Yeah, I remember when I was young, like feeling very spiritual because of all the, religious practices that I was doing. But then, like, having my one of my best friends' mom, like, dying of cancer, and she was an angel. So I'm just like, why would,
It's not
if
fair. It
there
doesn't
were,
make
yeah,
sense.
why would this woman experience this? And, yeah, it really makes you question. But then at the end of the day, like you said, like, I think it's with God's like within you. And if you can find that personal relationship, I think it's the best because you don't need external factors to influence like how you feel with the higher being, which is, I think, the most powerful thing if you can access it anytime you want.
Yeah. Okay, so tell me, how did you become a tenured professor of relational and sexual communication? First off, how did you get to the United States? What brought you here? And then how did you get into this deep study of just sexual wellness and all of the research that you've done to become an actual professor? And you wrote a textbook, right?
Yeah.
I mean, how did that happen?
I wrote a textbook and actually my fun book called How Do You Like It? A Guide to Getting What You Want in Bed is coming out soon. The
Congratulations.
the pre-sales open. If I can send you a book, I would
I would
love,
love that.
it's like sex education 101.
I love that. That's
Thank you.
amazing. What's in the
Thank
book?
you.
Tell me about the book. Tell me about your this book and then tell me about your textbook and your teaching. I want to know how you got into this deep research to write books about it.
Yeah, yeah. So this book, How Do You Like It? It stems from my students in college saying like there should be like a fun book that you write that everybody has on their shelves that's like basically this class, but more fun. I'm like, this class is fun. Uh,
So you're
but there
teaching this in a college?
Yeah, I teach human sexuality in college.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, it's a comprehensive sex education class and students love it. I mean, it's full when 5 minutes when registration open. So, because like no one got sex education. And
Yeah, you're right.
when
And
they're in college and they're, 20, 21, they're like,
that's when you
oh,
need it the most.
yeah, because everyone's exploring. So it's better to be safe and to understand yourself and others. So yeah, I wrote this book because I just thought it was time to create something that will be helpful to the mass and not just in my classroom. It has three main sections. So the first section is you, which helps you understand yourself. There is a whole like sex personality test. So you can take the test and you will learn like your acronyms, kind of like the Myers-Briggs test, where you're like
Okay.
ENFJ, INTP, kind of like that, but for sex. So you'll have language to talk about like who you are sexually and what you like. So that's the first part of the book is understanding yourself and
Are
like
there
who
certain
you are.
categories? Are there like how many categories can you fall into when you're
16.
16?
Yeah.
Okay. What are the
Yeah.
ranges? What does it range
Yeah.
from?
So it ranges from maybe someone who is completely monogamous, who enjoys stable sex life, more consistent sexual like moves and positions, like why fix something that is not broken kind of
Hmm.
situation, to people that are extremely kinky, people that enjoy sex within like multiple partners. And so it's a big spectrum, and there's different categories you fall into. There are four main categories, and so within the four main things you can kind of fall into like different variations of it, if you will.
Okay. What are the
So
four main
yeah.
categories? What are they called?
What?
What are the four main categories called?
Yeah, so you're either like dynamic or consistent, which
Okay.
means like you enjoy dynamic sex, meaning you enjoy sex in various places, in various positions. You like changing things up, you like different toys, versus people who are consistent, meaning they love the main way that they are able to achieve orgasm and they enjoy the same way throughout, and it's like beautiful and a good sex life for them. So there's no like better or worse in any of these categories, just who you are. Um, the second one is whether you are monogamous or flexible. Monogamous people can only emotionally have sex with one person, and they are not open to any ideas of like, let's say, a threesome or even exploring other non-monogamous situation. So that's the second one. And then we have whether you're more vanilla or more kinky. And then we have whether you're more expressive, like animalistic, or you're more gentle. So within these four, right, you generate the different, like I generate the 16 different sex personality types. So you'll learn like who you are and you can use that to talk about sex with your partner,
So you can
maybe
kind of
someone you're
match up.
dating or like your partner. Yeah, you can see if you match up, but you can also see how to tune in more towards each other. It will help you understand the difference. If
So
there's already
true.
friction in the sex life within your marriage or in your relationship, you can identify what the problem is through this test and then talk about how to get together and figure out a solution. So
That
yeah, the
is so true because you may just both be needing something different. Like you were talking about love languages earlier. Some people like gifts, some people are acts of service, some people are words of affirmation, some people are time. And
yeah.
it's the same thing with like how you're sexually wired. And like just knowing how the other person is wired is that's a light bulb.
It is a light bulb moment. And I think when I first like thought about it to create it, I was like, wow, this is going to help so many people figure out their own shit, right? Like figure out who they are, how they exist within this sexual realm, but also like who their partner is, and then come together to communicate what they actually need and like fix their relationship. So that's a whole first section is
That's
understanding.
huge.
Yeah, I'm
And
excited about it.
you're taking the shame out of it too, because it's like
Just a test.
this is just a test and this is just who I am. And none of it's
Yeah.
better or worse. It's just identifying who you are, which is so helpful for your partnership.
Yeah. Thank you so much. When I created it, I was like, wow, this is gonna help so many people. I had my light bulb moment as well, where I'm like, oh, I'm really excited about this. So then the second section is all about you and them. So it's about interpersonal communication, how to communicate in various different sex related scenarios, from like initiating, from how to accept initiation in different ways, how to uh, express or show sexual confidence in bed, how to communicate your boundaries in a way that's, understandable and accessible to your partner, and, don't basically offend them. Because a lot of people wonder that, right? Like they want certain things, but they don't know how to say it because they don't want to offend their partner or make their partner feel less than.
So you're giving
So
people just a way to express themselves without
yeah,
shame, ultimately, because now
yeah,
this is how you
yeah,
communicate it. The second part's
yeah.
how you communicate it with your partner, pretty much.
Yeah, how to communicate with your partner about your sex life, about the relationship, about dating, and also how to dirty talk. There's a whole
Oh,
chapter about how to dirty talk. Very spicy, a very spicy chapter.
how do you dirty talk? What is the correct way? Is there a correct way?
There, a correct way would be a way that both people find arousing.
Oh, this is amazing. I love
Yeah,
that this is in a book. Because, like you
yeah,
said, this is just floating out there in the atmosphere and people are just grabbing things and doing their own thing. But to have like a sex expert say, okay, let's like lock this down and get clear about it so you can have a very clear understanding with your partner. I mean, it's only going to help the relationship.
yeah, 1000%. I mean, everything is in this one book. It's sort of like just a manual for your sex life.
I
And if
love
you
it.
ever want to dig deeper, you can always like read like research and stuff like that. But like this book is just like a manual for a great sex life. So yeah, the third section is you and the culture. So like how has culture influenced the way you think about sex and sexuality, and how to get rid of cultural shame, and how to accept who you are and feel empowered. So it ends that way.
So ultimately, this is about getting clear with who you are, ultimately. Because
Yeah,
sex is such a
it's
huge
personal
part.
development.
Yeah, I mean, sex is such a huge part of our life. We're influenced it all over the place by all over the place by like advertisement, music, just culture in general is pushing
Everything.
sex on us constantly, and it is very confusing sometimes to know who am I at the core. And you're like, well, let's get clear about it so you can have your
Yeah.
best life
Yeah.
and your best relationship.
Yeah, that's a great summary. Can I hire you as my publicist? Yeah,
Yes.
it's a great summary.
So how did you get started? So you came over here 15 years ago
Yeah,
and you immediately how did just tell me your story. Tell me your story of
yeah,
like coming to America, getting interested in sex education, becoming a teacher, writing a textbook. What do you teach in college? Like that, I mean, that is probably like a you walk a fine line teaching sex education to college students. Get
yeah.
to communicate that to them is probably a fine art.
Oh, I walk that fine line every day.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I first came to America to pursue a master's degree in human communication, but particularly studying relationships. I found passion in understanding and studying relationship because back when I was doing my undergrad, I learned that, one of the main factors of having a happy life, based on the really large study done by Harvard, is actually your relationships. Like your relationships in your life dictate like how happy your life is, and within the longevity of your life too. So then I thought like, wow, that's so cool that this one thing, it's so important to how you feel every day, how you function every day, how you show up at work, how you show up as a person. So I just thought I wanted to study important skills in a relationship. So it was basic like that. Like I just want to understand more like what are the skills I need in a relationship. So I applied and I got in. I came to America to study masters in human communication in relationships. Then started studying that, learning more about, what you need within a relationship, how to communicate in a relationship, but also studying like how culture affects relationship. Then I came across a study, and also meanwhile like all of this, like I was just dating a bunch of different people, did not understand myself, had a very low sexual self-esteem in my early 20s, didn't really have any direction apart from school, and I was good at school, so I just stuck with it. Um so I learned through one of the studies that I read that sex is the most universal problem in this world,
Wow.
regardless of people's racial background, how much money they make, how they grew up, or what their religion is. Like every single person will experience a sex related problem at some point
Interesting.
in their lives. Yeah. And you can totally see it. I mean, I was experiencing, a sex problem. So,
Yeah.
because I was having a lot of casual sex, not understanding, what we were talking about earlier in this episode about like needing external validation. I went through that. So studying that really helped me feel more empowered. And that's why I wanted to study even more about romantic relationships. So I applied to a bunch of PhD programs, got in a PhD program with full ride scholarship. So I was able to like study and actually started teaching classes within the realm of relationships, so relational communication. And 4 years of my PhD, I graduated, learned a lot about different things, attachment style, which is like really important to understand, love styles, sexual communication, how technology affects relationships, but also how different cultural backgrounds and interracial relationships work. So I was studying like a lot about different types of relationships and what affects a good relationship. And then I applied to get a job. So I got a job as a professor at Cal State University and started teaching sexual communication, which is a sex ed 101 class. And teach that's what I teach, human sexuality within the college, like at Cal State University. And my students are Gen Zs, like kids that are 20, 21, 22, and are really sexually exploring, or, they're dating their first or second partner, and they're just curious to learn more. And it's a very popular class.
How do you approach that class? Like, what do you teach them in that class?
Yeah, from a very social scientific manner, like a lot of research findings, but also personal experience. Like I share with them my personal experience so they understand like my struggles and what I've gone through to get here, and making it more relatable for them. But a lot of it is presenting research, which is within the textbook that we wrote, that my co-authors and I wrote. So this class starts from the very, very basic, which is anatomy. A lot of people have never looked at their own vulva or vagina or penis. Like my homework is like, get a mirror and like look at your vulva and your vagina tonight. Next class, I want you to come back and share how you feel about it, how you feel about that experience. Most of 99% of them have never looked at it, like carefully looking and investigating the different parts and the labia, and even giving them language. They were like, whoa, I didn't know. I just thought like everything was vagina. I'm like, no, there's so many different parts. There's the clitoris, there's the labia majora, labia minora, there's the vaginal opening, there's the vagina is inside, the outside is called the vulva. So for them, it's like even the first class, they were like, whoa, this is crazy. And then we move on to understanding like what quote unquote like losing your virginity means, because there's a lot of research within that. We actually, as social scientists, we call it sexual debut, because a lot more positive, because you're not losing anything. It's a debut. So
Okay.
we call it sexual debut, instead of losing your virginity. So talk about that, talk about what it means, how you shouldn't be ashamed, and then go on to talk about understanding yourself. So kind of like my book, like
Hmm.
understanding yourself, communicating your desires, and then it ends with sexual wellness throughout the lifetime. So talking about sex and aging,
Okay. How long
everything.
have you been teaching this class?
8 years?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And then did you just blow up on TikTok? Or
Yeah.
when did you become this like viral phenom? Like the sex
So,
expert around the world?
yeah, I mean, the internet's resident expert.
That's
That's what
amazing.
Paper Magazine said, so I just coined it. Like I just
I
kept
love
it.
it. Yeah.
So 4 years ago, I earned early tenure and promotion 5 years ago. So about five and a half, about 5 or 4 years ago, I was thinking about, what would be like a fun thing to do outside of class. Like as a professor, I love teaching, but I was thinking of something that's new and challenging for me. And my students were like, you should have a podcast. You're so entertaining. Just have a podcast and talk about like different sex things. I said, oh, I don't even know. At that point, I have never listened to a podcast and I don't know how to start. And so actually a student helped me start a podcast. Yeah.
That's amazing.
And and I started my podcast Love Bites to talk about sexual exploration. So like every episode is like different sex related topic. And from that, I started TikTok and Instagram to promote my podcast, but it kind of has its own life. Like my TikTok and Instagram blew up. Like people really love those short form content that was just like unshaming different sex related activities and just help people feel more comfortable with themselves when it comes to their sexuality. So yeah, like this, my social media is like 4 years old now. And it blew up and all the media opportunities just came in, like the radio show, the column, the TV show. And I'm actually doing another TV show now that's going to be coming out in the US. So
It's
yeah, it's just like
amazing.
really cool crossing over from academia and being a professor to like being in media. Because that
How
wasn't my intention originally.
how is it being on the show? What's the show called? It's called like
Celebs go dating.
Celebs Go Dating, and that's in London, right?
Yeah, yeah. So this is a UK TV show. It's like season 14. But I've been on the last three. So like I've done 3 seasons and it's really, really fun. It's a huge show. Um, the premise is we have about 6 or 7 celebrities in each year at our celebrity matchmaking agency. And so we matchmake them with non-celebrities and then give them
Oh,
therapy, like coach them, and then send them out on a date in
have you
hopes
had
that they
success
find love.
stories? Have you had
Yeah, we have many.
like they're still dating?
Yeah, 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 we have many.
So you are really able to like look at someone, probably use your studies, your research, and figure out what they're actually looking for and what they're compatible with.
Yeah, and a lot of it is just coaching them through their personal development to become someone that is dateable. A lot
Okay,
of people are not dateable
what makes someone not dateable? And then how do you make them dateable?
when they have a lot of toxic patterns,
That
when
they're
they have
unaware of?
extremely low, yeah, that they're unaware of and they haven't worked on themselves. People who are unhealed from their traumas and like even bad relational experiences in the past, and they have a lot of baggage that they haven't worked on. People who have like very low EQ, emotional intelligence, don't know how to process emotions. They tend to blow up. They tend to have like almost bipolar tendencies, like really happy about something, really upset about something. So there's a lot of people that are not dateable because they haven't worked
Mm,
on themselves.
because
And
they
that's just the harsh truth.
and you know what the thing is, if I'm speaking from myself because I've done so much constant work on myself. It is hard to do the work, but if you don't do the work, you there's no way you can get into a good relationship. You're so right because all of your past traumas, all of your character defects that you've carried with you that you haven't worked on, they're just going to plague every relationship you have. So you'll have the same problems over and over again. And eventually, even if you end up with a good person, you'll probably ruin it because you can't see past your own problems and situation, and everyone has trauma, so
Everyone.
so you just have to like get to the point where you're willing to do the hard work, don't you think?
Hmm.
And if you're not, you probably aren't ready for a
100%.
relationship, a sustainable
Exactly.
one, a good sustainable one.
Exactly. And I mean, I said the same thing. It's like when people come to me, when women come to me and go like, why do I keep dating bad men? Like, where are the good men? I'm like, well, maybe you're not ready for a good man. And that's the harsh truth. And when
And
I
it's
say
not
it, they're
because they
typically
don't,
quite shocked. They're like,
but they haven't looked at their self yet, have they?
yeah,
Because they're
like,
probably very sweet and kind,
yeah,
but they're
yeah.
not. There's so many problems they haven't dealt with.
Yeah, exactly. Like you have problems. That's why there is this dating pattern that you engage in. Like you forget that you, 50% of the equation, engage in these bad relationships. So first you have to work on you. Like I love this saying that actually my husband taught me a few years ago. It's like build a beautiful garden and the butterflies will come.
Mm.
It's so true, isn't it? It's also within
Hmm.
friendships and networking for work. Like when you exude positive energy and your life is going great and you have worked on yourself and you're just healthy, you have this
Yes.
aura that people just want to be around. And so, romantically speaking, you will just naturally attract the right people in your life. So, yeah, working on yourself is like number one requirement in order to have a good relationship. But then again, I can't discount the fact that it's also harder now to date than ever before. Because in the past, like your friends introduce you, you meet at the gym, you meet in college, you meet at a coffee shop. Now it's like social media, dating apps, and it's exhausting.
Oh, I can't imagine being out there in the world right now.
I can't
I mean,
being out
really.
there. What's your relationship status?
So I've been married for 11 years. And
Wow.
we dated, so we grew up together. And I have to say, like, I am so proud of my marriage because we have done the hard work together. Like, we have gone in, we started dating when we were in our early 20s. And so we both have just like gone in and done our own personal healing.
Love
We've
that.
healed together as a couple. Like, we have not shied away from the hard work and facing the hard truths that we needed to, and the traumas and like healing. And we've done a lot of healing work
I
together,
love that.
which is really
What were
sweet.
there like what were the modalities? Like were you doing like couples counseling or like mutual masturbation? What?
We've never done like the tantric stuff, like the
Yeah, yeah.
sexual things. Maybe that's on our part.
That's next.
Maybe
That's
that's
next.
next. Maybe we got
Yeah.
to clear get the foundation strong, and now we'll enter into this next realm with you, Dr. Tara.
Yeah.
No, we did a lot of like talk therapy.
Mm.
We have done a different like forms of like I had gone through lots of miscarriages, and I ended up
Mm.
going with a healer and doing a couple mushroom journeys, and like went
Mm-hmm.
into like my deep psyche, and like that
Mm-hmm.
was very eye-opening. That was a very healing experience. Just yeah, we've done a lot of different forms of therapies
I love that.
to get to the core of what is the true pain in our life that we need to address, that is causing, the ripple effect of that's causing us to have things, to do things that we don't want to do, like have bad habits, or just really honestly, we've just cleaned up our whole life. We've just analyzed, we've done a full
Yeah.
audit, done a full
That's
audit,
great.
and we've done it together. And so like now that we've been married 11 years, I'm like, dang, like I'm just so proud of us because we still
Yeah.
love each other. We're still so attracted to each other, and we like have such a strong foundation. But it definitely was hard work. It was not easy.
I love that you talk about this publicly because a lot of people like to present that their relationship is so perfect.
It's not
It's
perfect without the hard work. There's no way.
right. Yeah, they like to present just the good parts and they don't want to talk about the fact that they like people are still ashamed they go to couples counselor. Like
Oh my gosh. I think
they're
if you
still ashamed. They
don't
don't tell
go,
other people. They're ashamed. Yeah, like they do it in secret. I mean, I know this because I'm a provider. Like I have a private practice and I know that people are so ashamed. They're like, "Oh, we would never tell people that, we would never tell like my friends or yeah, like it's still a huge taboo." So the fact that you're just publicly talking about like doing all these things to improve your relationship, I think it's so important to help people feel less shame and just go do it. Just she does it.
just go do
Like
it. Well, and just go do
yeah.
it because like you said, relationships are the most important part of your life. Like they're going to determine your happiness. And if one or both of you is toxic and has toxic trauma and pain and character traits that are really negatively affecting the relationship, and you're not willing to work on it, then how on earth are you ever going to get to a healthy relationship? And it kind of goes back to what you're saying before. It's like you go to the gym regularly. You pay attention to what you eat. You pay attention to who you hang out with. Like you are selective about like where you spend your time and energy. It's like, why would you not put that same energy into improving your relationship? And a lot of times you don't know the tools, and so you need someone to help you. Like I have learned so many tools from therapy that like
Hmm.
now I have so many tools. So it's like I don't need to go all the time to therapy like I did
Hmm.
when I was learning things and sifting through my life. But it's like, okay, you have to go learn those tools. And it's
Hmm.
okay if you don't know them. You just
Yeah,
have to be willing
exactly.
to go learn.
Yeah, exactly. I think that willingness and initiation is really important. People get stuck in their ways because they're not willing to change and they're not taking initiative. It's
Yeah.
like willingness and initiation is almost even more important than the work itself because people get so stuck in their ways and they're afraid that like changing means that their current person is a bad person.
Right.
When in fact it's just like you're just improving yourself. It's like taking vitamins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when you do it with your partner, like Michael and I've done, it's like so amazing to see how far you've come together and like how
Yeah.
healthy we both are, like physically, mentally, spiritually,
Yeah.
as a couple. It's like, man, and like you are so proud of how far you've come
Yeah.
and your
And 11
relationship.
years you have passed all the itches in
That is
research.
so true. What
Yeah,
are
you
the itches? What?
so we have like 5 year itch, 7 year itch, and 10 year that
Okay.
people tend to like get a divorce. So you
What are they? What happens at 5 year? Is it just like, oh my gosh, what have I done with my life?
the lack of desire for each other.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's when you hit like the first dry streak of like, well, I've now had sex with this one person for 5 years. Like
And I'm going to be with
it's
this
a
person
long
for the
time.
rest of my life.
Yeah, yeah, like it's been a long time. There's no variations. Like, what can we do to explore new things? But a lot of people don't do that, and they shove in their resentment towards the other person sexually, and that becomes a big problem. So they like there's a big divorce rate during like 5 years.
Okay.
And then 7 years is typically like they have children, right? Like
Mm.
statistically speaking, not to say everyone need to have children, like you really don't need to. I don't have children. But statistically speaking, most couples have children by like 7 years. Um, and that's like also a problem because becoming parents like completely new roles. And if
Oh
you're
my
not
gosh.
communicating openly and you're not communicating um your needs as a person, then you're gone. Then now you're just a mom, and all you feel like you can be is a mom, and you are not a woman. Like, what about the
Hmm.
woman in you that also has needs and other things and
And
need
there's
to be
a
loved and show romance and
there's a
you know?
death that happens when you become a mom. Like because your
Yeah.
former self dies. Like
Hmm.
literally. Like you who you were before completely dies. And like it comes back around and like you find those pieces of yourself, but like you are never the same person again.
Hmm.
And it's like
Hmm.
you have totally different instincts kick in, different like yes, it's like after having a baby, it is like an awakening across the
Yeah.
board.
Yeah, yeah. And that in itself also can become an issue
Yes.
because
I've
I've
seen
had a
so
lot of
many
couples.
friends not
Yeah.
not work together during that time because and you have hormones that are out of control, your feelings are
So
next
many
level.
factors.
Yes.
Yeah, and in my private practice, I see like when people have young children, and the main telltale sign that the woman is like unhappy with the romantic and the sexual side of the relationship is when she comes in and she goes, like, what can I say? I'm just a mom.
Mm.
Like, but you're not though. Like, you're also the woman. Like, you're also Ashley. Like, there was a woman before this baby came in. And yes, this baby is the most important thing in your life, but you are the most important thing in your life.
So true.
Yeah, like
So
if
true.
you're not functioning at 100%, you are giving this little baby, 65% of who you are, and you're unsatisfied, you're frustrated. Like all of those things will transfer. So when people go like, "Yeah, I don't care about sex and intimacy. I only like take care of my
Oh,
baby," like
that's a
that.
kiss of death for your
Yeah,
relationship.
exactly.
It
Yeah.
really is. And it's easy to like in those beginning phases with a baby to be so in an alternate world, but like you have to maintain your relationship. You really do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, that connection and romance, it's so important.
I always think when people say like about a woman, oh, she's just the most selfless woman, like it's a compliment. And I'm like, that is not a compliment. Like to be the most selfless person is not a compliment because that means you are completely disregarding your own needs. And if you don't take care of your own needs, you're going to have secret resentment inside of you. Because it's not that you don't want to take care of all of your family and all of the people that you're responsible for and give them everything you can, but if you don't feel like if your cup's not full, like you're saying, how on earth can you be a good partner, a good mother, a good friend, any of it?
Yeah, that's why like self-care is actually the most important practice, and then you can take care of other people.
Yes, it's so true. Dr.
Yay.
Tara, this is so amazing. I have absolutely just loved chatting with you. Um,
Same.
tell me where people can find your book, where people can find you. Where can we keep up with everything Dr. Tara?
Yes. So my Instagram and TikTok is at lovebites.co. That's LUVBITES.co. My book is called How Do You Like It? A Guide for Getting What You Want in Bed. It's now available for pre-orders, and you can search the name of the book, or you can go to my website, lovebites.co, and there will be a link there. There will also be a link on my Instagram.
And does that lead you to your podcast and everything as well?
Yes, the link on my Instagram leads to everything.
You are a busy woman. You got it going on.
Yeah. Yeah, but see, like that's a big sacrifice in my life, isn't it? Is to not have children. Like I originally really wanted to have children, and that's a whole big conversation of working through that and actually through mushrooms. Um,
Really? How did you
yeah,
decide? So you decided you aren't going to have children?
no, right.
How did you decide that?
That I felt so connected to my number one purpose in life, which is to be put here to help people connect better, to feel less shame, and to experience more pleasure in every way possible in their life. And I think that's my baby.
Did you
That's
have
my
a
main purpose.
did you have a moment where you, because you said you wanted to have children and then you
Yeah.
decided not to, did you have a moment where you felt like you couldn't do both?
hmm
And then when did that happen and how did you reach that awareness?
Yeah. So I was going through like IVFs,
Okay.
and it was just because we were trying naturally for a long time. And then I was going through IVFs, but then it just felt so forced. And I'm a huge believer in good things come easily. That the universe that there's a destiny for you, and yeah, like there's free will and choices, but ultimately it kind of leads to the same path. And for me it's like, wow, it feels so hard. Like,
Hmm.
why does it feel so hard? And I've done hard things in my life, but this just feels like it's a lot of friction within myself. um so then, yeah, through my like psychedelic journey, and also tantric journey, not necessarily tantric sex, but just experiencing like energy work, I learned that my baby is this work. And I will continue to push through for the next however long I live, another 45, 50 years. And yeah, every day I'll be talking about sexual wellness, help people feel less shame and experience more pleasure. And this is my baby.
That's a big awakening.
Huge. I cried a lot. I
And I can
grieved that.
imagine.
I had to grieve it and like let it go.
Have you completely shut the door or is the door open? Like if a baby wants to slip through there, or is it just like you've shut the door?
Yeah. Door's always open. Like
Okay.
my door is open for everything, right? Like it's open for a baby, it's open for anal. It's my my all my doors are open. My my husband goes like, doesn't mean
Oh
like,
my
what if like one
gosh.
day you get pregnant? Like, doesn't mean you're gonna get an abortion. I'm like, no, if I get pregnant like just out of the blue, like I'd be so happy too. Like I'm not close to it. I'm just not trying.
Okay. You're just
Yeah,
taking
like
all the pressure off.
I don't want, yeah, like my intention is I don't want children. But if the children wants to, get
Come to
in
you,
me, yeah, come to
then
me.
you're open.
Yeah, then I would
You'd be
find that such a
happy.
huge blessing. Yeah.
Yes, I love that. Okay, I always wrap up with leave your light, and it's just a super open-ended question. What do you want people to know? Drop some inspiration.
Mm. I want people to know that there's no shame in experiencing sexuality in your own way. You need to stop asking, what are other people doing? How many times a week should I be doing this? Should I be doing this with my partner? Am I doing this wrong? Like, there is no normal when it comes to sex. It's whatever you feel like is best for you and your partner. You need to get over the hump of like, what is society doing? What are my friends doing? Like, you're fine, you're good, you're normal. And as long as you guys are happy, that's all it takes to have a good sex life.
I love that so much. Dr. Tara, this was such an enlightening conversation. Will you stick around for like 5 minutes to do a tell me more where I draw some questions and you just answer them?
Yeah, of
Okay, it'll be a
course.
bonus episode. Thank you
Okay.
so much, Dr. Tara. Y'all go check out her new book, which is coming out soon,
October. Yeah.
October. Okay. Thank you so much for joining me. This was so enlightening. Bye, Dr. Tara.
Thank you.
Okay, I just draw some questions and it's called Tell Me More, and they're just some deep questions. It'll be like 5 minutes. Is that
Oh,
okay?
cute. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I love it.
Okay, here we go. We are back with Dr. Tara. We had such an enlightening conversation. She is the Carrie Bradshaw of this day and age. You are a sexpert. You have a column in Women's Health. You teach a college class. You've written a textbook about sexual wellness and education. You also have a new book coming out called,
How do you like it? A guide for getting what you want in bed.
and it's coming out in October. You have gone viral, and you are the, wait, what is the term that you are on for socials?
The internet's resident sexpert.
The internet's resident sexpert. So we had such a great conversation, a very enlightening conversation about how sex truly does just affect your entire well-being. And you really are taking the shame out of it and helping people to be educated and to learn about themselves, which is the most important thing first. So it's such a great conversation. Thank you so much. And now we're going to do Tell Me More. So I'm just going to, just tell me when you see one that you want. Just tell me when you see one you want me to draw.
That one.
This one? Wait, right
Yep.
here?
Yep.
Okay. So this one says, what do you think your 8-year-old self would think about the person you are today?
Oh, she would be shocked.
She would? Why?
She would be so shocked. At 8 years old, I mean, and being like a practicing Buddhist and going to Catholic school, like she would not think that I am who I am now, the internet's resident expert talking about sex every single day of my life. No, she would be shocked, but at the same time, really proud.
What would she be proud of?
She would be proud that I live my life unapologetically, that I'm honest in every way possible, and I care about myself and others deeply, and I'm helping the world become a better place.
That. Oh, okay. Okay. So tell me when to stop.
That one.
Okay. What life situation has contributed to your strength or resilience?
My divorce.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about that.
It was one of the most difficult times of my life to be a professor, because at that time I'd already started being a professor at Cal State Fullerton, to be a professor teaching about sexual wellness and relationships and how to have a good relationship, and like going through my own failure in a relationship. And that, I don't call that now, I call it a huge blessing. But during that time, I felt like it was a failure that had a huge self-esteem hit, a huge like confusion in my life, like what is going on, even though I was the person that asked for a divorce, it was really hard. I was waking up crying every single day for like 3 weeks, and it was a really hard time to go through, but at the same time, I find it like the most beneficial now because I can help people that have gone through a divorce, and I know exactly how it feels and how shame can kind of engulf your entire being, and you just feel like you're not good enough and you don't deserve good things. So I now think it's a huge blessing that I can relate to millions of people that have gone through a divorce.
Amazing. Okay, we'll do one more. Okay, tell me when.
I'll do that one.
Okay.
I love these cards.
I know. They're called Tell Me More.
Love it.
What's a question you wish you could get an answer for?
Um, why we feel emotions.
Oh,
Because scientists can't explain it.
really?
No, they can't. No, they know like what happens in the body when you feel emotions, but we don't know why we feel emotions. Like, wouldn't life be easier if none of us feel emotions and everyone just operate? But
But then we would have
it would be so boring.
It'd be so boring. There'd be no yeah.
There would be no conflict because all conflicts come from emotions.
And we wouldn't even really know what we were doing. We'd just be like robots.
Robots. Yeah, I know, but it would be cool to understand like why we feel the way we feel.
Yeah. I guess it's how we shape our lives ultimately.
Yeah, everything. Like, I mean, even like when people study purchasing psychology, like sales, right? The whole world is about like buying and selling. And people were like, yeah, like most buyers are emotional buyers.
Oh, I
And
bet.
yeah, and that's why you need to understand how to invoke emotion so they buy more. which is, yeah, I just always find it interesting. Like, why do we have emotions? Because it's hard.
It's hard being a human. Humaning
Yeah,
is like the hardest thing we're ever gonna
it's a
do.
lot of work. Yeah,
It's a
I
lot
know.
of work.
I know. Not like dolphins swim around in your crew having group sex.
So maybe in your next life you'll want to come back as a dolphin, right?
Maybe.
But I hear once you become like a human, you can't go back to animals.
That's what I heard too about like going different planes.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll just have to
Mm,
see.
we'll have to
Do
see.
Dr. Tara, thank you so much for coming and sharing all your wisdom. Tell everyone where they can find you again on this, if they didn't hear the first time, where all your outlets are.
Yes, you can find me on my website and my Instagram. That's lovebites.co. That's LUVBITES.co. And all my information's on there.
And then your new book is coming out in October.
That's right. The pre-sales open now.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining me. This was such an enlightening conversation, and I appreciate all your time and wisdom.
Thank you for having me.
Bye.
Bye.